Welcome to the 2026 election hustings for the Connétable of Trinity. And it's the country parishes that are leading the charge this year, because Mary and Trinity are today, and we're the first of the hustings for the many, many hustings that are happening. So just to let you know, this event's being live streamed to the vote.je YouTube and X accounts, and there'll be a recording uploaded to both the vote.je website and to YouTube. So if you know anyone who hasn't been able to come today, they can watch it online later. I'm sure you're aware, but you can only vote for one of the two candidates who put themselves forward for this role. So we have, in alphabetical order, Steve Lelouch, an independent, and also Andy Howell, also independent. We'll start with a short speech from each candidate, which will be followed by your question.
John and I have lived for the last 43 years, and where we've brought up our family. There's a wonderful team working in Trinity, including many people volunteering to help in countless ways. Previous member of the community support group, Meals on Wheels volunteer, church almoner, together with other roles both in Trinity and more widely. I will work hard to ensure we have a united and happy parish, where the amazing Trinity community spirit remains and grows. I will be approachable, have an open door policy, and promise to be kind, listen carefully, and work to enhance parish life, to find solutions to issues, and to represent the views of Trinity parishioners in the State's Assembly. I'm standing as an independent candidate, and if lucky enough to be elected as your Connétable, amongst other things, I will make sure we care for our elderly parishioners, engage our young parishioners to ensure their voices are heard and valued, enhance the use of the outdoor space at the youth centre, making it more attractive and accessible for all, with better play facilities for children and young people. Collaborate to deliver the best permanent and safe road layout for the crossing at Trinity School. Encourage parishioners to volunteer, especially for the Honorary Police, in which my husband John was an officer for 12 years. I have a few other ideas, and I'd be very happy to discuss them with you. Over the past 4 years, I have served on the Planning Committee and an Assistant Health Minister. If fortunate to be elected as Connétable, my primary role would be to serve the parish. But as a retired dentist, wife of a GP, and mum of 2 doctors, I would relish the opportunity to carry on in health in order to provide continuity and stability, as the job is far from finished. I believe that together, as a community, we can ensure Trinity continues to be a safe, welcoming rural parish where everyone matters and where we help and to support one another and make Trinity the best parish to live in. So on June the 7th, please vote for me, Andy Howe, for your Connétable. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Andy Howe. Now, Steve Delouche.
Okay, the first thing I'd like to say is it's lovely to see that Trinity has come out in force again. We're fortunate that when elections like this come along, the parish come together and support the actual elections. So the first thing I would like to say is good evening to everyone, and thank you for coming to this Hustings meeting for the election of position of Constable of Trinity. My name is Steve Delouche. Firstly, I would like to thank our current Constable, Phil, and his wife, Angela, for all the hard work and commitment they've done to the parish over the last 12 years. And we would like to wish you both a long, happy and healthy retirement. I've lived in Trinity for the past 56 years, and I feel that the time is now right to stand for the position of Constable, because I care deeply about our parish, and I want to give the time and attention it deserves. I've been a member of the Honorary Police for the last 17 years, serving as a constable's officer, ventenier and centenier. And I have been involved in a number of parish events, and this involvement has given me a better understanding of what matters to the people of the parish. I'm married, my wife is a teacher, and we have one son who is now just qualified as a doctor. I've worked for the State of Jersey for the past 47 years. If elected, I will treat the role as a full-time commitment and devote my time to Trinity. I will involve parishioners in decisions and make good use of parish assemblies. I will review parish spending and financial commitments so that ratepayers can see clearly how budgets are managed. My priorities are straightforward. I want Trinity to remain a good place to grow up and to grow old. I want to review the road safety around the school and church, as well as other roads within the parish. I support exploring the affordable housing, particularly for people with real ties to Trinity. I would like more people to be involved in parish life, not just invited to events, but listened to. I would also like to see the creation of a sociable space, possibly a cafe for all parishioners. I would like to explore the possibility of allotments and community growing spaces, if suitable land can be found. I also support creating a better community playground area where parents with young children can take their children to play. As an active member of the Honorary Police, I'm very keen to continue encouraging new parishioners to join the team, as it's service that we all provide we are all very proud of, helping within the community and across the island on some occasions. In the States Assembly, I'm keen to represent parishioners in debates on the important matters like population, housing, education, and health, all of which will have an enormous impact on our lives. I am not a seasoned politician, and I don't profess to have all of the answers. However, I will be fully committed to our parish, and my record to date hopefully will show that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Steve Delouche. There is room down here if anybody at the back would like to come and sit in the seats in the front. We're not going to do anything awful to you. We won't make you participate. Don't worry. So just before we start questions, let me just explain how it's going to work. There'll be a microphone passed to each person who wants to ask a question, and then hand it back to that person once you've asked your question. I'm just going to start by taking one question from each person so that we can get around as many people as possible. But once everybody's had their chance, I can always come back to people who've already asked one. Try to keep your questions brief so we can get through quite a few. And also, it's important to make sure that whatever you ask can be answered by both candidates. So just think about how you phrase your question so that both candidates can answer it. And I know it's Trinity, so I don't have to ask this, but please be respectful of everybody. And an appeal to the candidates. Please answer the question. Don't just make a speech. I know what these States members are like. Okay, so let's get started. Who is going to ask the first question? Brilliant. Okay, here comes the mic.
I'm quite used to microphones, but thank you for the advice. Bless you. Hello, yes, I should declare that I'm one of the candidates for District 3. And firstly, isn't it wonderful to see a room full of people that care about this parish which we call home. It's a simple question, really. What do each of the candidates think that they will uniquely bring to this parish? What maybe they'll create that hasn't been created before, and you've alluded to it in your speech already. What do you think the parish doesn't need that it has that you might get rid of? So basically, how will you personally give something unique of your character to this parish?
I think we'd agreed that Steve Deluche will answer the first question. Off you go.
Okay, I think the thing that I would bring to the parish is continue building the community spirit which we've got here. The amount of volunteers and people that do voluntary work free of charge is unbelievable. So I would like to build that and keep that carrying on. Another thing which I would like to possibly bring into place as well is housing for the young people. It's a situation which you're hearing right across the island that, houses are a problem. And I think the scheme that we've got currently running at Le Grand Clos works really well. And hopefully then we could possibly build on that as well. Excuse the pun of the build. What was the other part, Peter? It was... Why am I so brilliant?
He's a plant.
Why am I brilliant? I care deeply about the parish. I feel as though that I've given the 17 years in the honorary police, and I feel as though that I can give a lot more as being the constable, being the father, if you like, of the parish. I would lead the team. I would encourage people, and we could build that community amongst ourselves. And I think that's one of the qualities that I've got. I'm approachable, and I'm prepared to listen, and I will have an open door policy. Thank you.
Off you go.
Thank you for the question. Well, if I were lucky enough to be elected, I think I might be the first female Constable of Trinity. So I think, I think we should go for that, because I think it's time that women show that we can do it. And I respect all that Steve says, but I think I really would love to be Constable. I've really appreciated being a deputy for this district, but I now want to concentrate on the parish where we've lived for the last 43 years. And I think there's, I've got more to give. And I just want to encourage everyone to come together and to continue. We're going to have a lovely liberation supper on next Saturday. And that's just one of the things we do. And I just want to keep everybody involved. And one of my things is, if you look outside, there's a very tiny play area for young children. And I think we could do better than that. So that's what I'm really hoping to do. But I really want to make sure that we keep the rates of the Trinity down as well. And and they're just effective, but I want to look after everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So who else would like to ask a question? Okay, we've got somebody down here.
I would like to know what you would like to do to improve the public transport at Trinity.
So I think it might be my turn to answer first. So during this time of office, I have been down with our present Connétable, and we went to see Kevin Hart at the bus station. And we have got the buses have improved. But I know we got the late night bus on a Thursday, Friday and a Saturday going, but I know it's not as good as it could be. I know that it's not at all good in Victoria Village, and they have about just 2 a day. But I think, but I do think it's, we'd have to get together again with the bus company and see what we could do for you. Whereabouts are you? Oh yeah, Victoria. I think I came to see you, didn't I, the other day, possibly. Anyway, I'm sure Victoria Village hasn't got a very good bus service, I would say, at the moment. So I'm very happy to go and talk to Kevin Hart again. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Steve Deluche.
Right, firstly, thank you very much for the question. I'm fortunate enough that I work down at Driver and Vehicle Standards, and I'm in contact with Kevin. So I feel as though that I'll have a good place that I can actually put this comment forward. Okay, whether or not we'll be able to get a sort of bus service like Gorey have got, where there's buses coming here, there, and everywhere at all the times. But I think it's important that we have a solid network of the bus service coming up on a regular basis. Rightly so, there's buses in the mornings for people to get to work and for them to come back in the evenings. But if somebody wants to go out in the town and have a good night out, it's a bit hard that you've got to get the bus to the zoo and then you've got to walk that terrible road to get back to possibly where you are. So what I would do in that instance, I too would go and speak to Kevin Hart, see if we can improve that. It might be something where rather than having large buses, which sometimes they run at certain times of the day, not being full, anything like that, but maybe the introduction possibly of smaller shuttle buses on a regular service. Thank you.
Okay, thanks to both of you. Anybody else coming up with a question? I think you've got the mic coming to you now.
I'd just like to say both candidates have mentioned the outside the school, the development there on the speed ramps, and also against the church. What's the positives and negatives of that? Because I don't think there's very many positives generally.
So Steve, your turn first.
Okay, this is one of the areas which is causing me and a lot of the parishioners concern. I feel as though at the present moment that obviously the key is safety of the children, and I will always make that paramount, that the safety of the children has got to be taken into consideration. However, I feel as though that the current setup that we've got down there is possibly causing an issue in the sense of maybe an accident could happen. And the reason why I say that is that during school times, when parents are coming to the school, you're getting a backup of traffic. We don't want to have a shunt accident or anyone being injured in that particular instance. So what I would like to do, I would obviously need to speak to the people's concerned. So obviously the head teacher of the school, infrastructure, members of the public from the parish, get their views and all that sort of thing. And then we would take that back into the infrastructure department and see if we can get things slightly resolved. I think the chicane system is causing more issues than what it's trying to solve. There's also conflicting issues regarding the children. Is it a zebra crossing? Is it a recognized crossing? That seems to be a little bit of a grey area. What I would like to do possibly is actually designate that as a crossing area, maybe with the incorporation of some sort of flashing lights in the roadway, so that the children and people know that that is an actual proper crossing area for safety. So it's going to be work in progress sort of thing, but it is a key thing for me that I want to address that, and hopefully then we can resolve the problems down there. But it certainly is. I've been going out canvassing and knocking on doors, and people of the parish are not happy with the current setup, and I will address that if I'm lucky enough to be elected as the constable of the parish. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Andy.
So I also share Steve's concern. I think it is only meant to be a temporary solution at the moment. And I have been to a meeting at the school with the infrastructure department and the current constable, but they said that nothing will change until the roadworks down St. John's Road have been completed. But I too do not think it's particularly safe at the moment. I think the chicane, I don't know why we've got the build out at the bottom. I think it would be much better just to have a proper crossing. But unfortunately, we'll have to persuade perhaps the new infrastructure minister and the infrastructure department that it's not quite what we want. There has been a consultation, and I think they've taken into consideration the views of the children and the head teacher and people living within 50 meters, but they don't seem to have taken into consideration the wider Trinity parishioners' view. And I think that's something that we need to go back and address. We want it to be safe, but at the moment, I think it might be quite difficult for a fire truck to come up the main road and turn right into Larouette. And so I do think that is something that's really, we have to address. And I'm sure there will be a better solution, a better and safe solution. We want our children to be safe crossing the road, but I just don't think it's quite right at the moment. We've got a wonderful lollipop person who's there every day. But I do think we have to address the whole thing. I'm not sure whether we should be having a 20 mile an hour right from the top of the road by the church. I think perhaps there might be a possibility of going back to a 30, but we'd have to work together to do that.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Who else has got a question for us? Okay.
Hello. One of the things that slightly worries me about the traffic coming down Trinity Road at the moment on diversion from St John is what it means for the integrity of that road. We've got lots of heavy goods vehicles and all sorts. Is that something you will take up with infrastructure to make sure that that road is checked and remains safe in future once the roadworks have been completed in St John?
Yes, Elaine. To be honest, when I cycle into town, I'm very aware of all the potholes that are being created by extra traffic going down the main roads and the smaller roads. I hope I have helped people who live in Rue de Douai, because they've been having a terrible time with masses of traffic going past them, and there've been a lot of speeding, and I think they have been quite concerned. But I think at the moment, because last Monday they put a stop at the bottom of the main St John's Road, that I don't think they're going to have quite such a problem anymore. But I think it's now all going down the Trinity main road, because to get to B&Q or Haute Vallée, you now have to go right down to the bottom and then go along and round Queen's Road and up. I think it's been quite difficult. I know it's a difficult task doing the new drainage, but I think it is causing problems. Today I followed a huge lorry up from town, and it was hitting all the trees. It was a massive lorry. And I think perhaps we do need to talk to infrastructure and see what can be done. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Steve?
Okay, Elaine, thanks very much for the question. It is a concern. I'm going to say, obviously, Trinity Main Road, there's an enormous amount of pressure now, like Andy was just saying there, with the vehicles all coming from various parts of the island, and that's the only route down. With regards to the repair of the road, that would fall back down to the infrastructure department. That's their roadways, so that would be cost-wise, would be down to them to put that right. However, before this actual sorting out of the drainage systems, we had a meeting here with infrastructure, and I did raise that point because I was concerned more of the parish roads. The parish roads are getting heavy usage at the present moment, and there's a lot of places where there's large potholes that are starting to create, and also hedgerows are starting to get damaged. Okay, so I raised the point, if there's any damage that's going to be done on those roads, is it going to be that back down to the infrastructure department? At that particular time, there wasn't a lot of forthcoming information from the infrastructure department. However, if I am lucky enough to be elected to the position of Constable. That is one issue that I will approach the infrastructure department and say that surely they should be putting some monies up to actually get these roads repaired. We've had to bear the brunt of the heavy traffic and also going through these lanes, and it's not fair for the parish to have to pick up a large bill that could possibly develop from that. Thank you.
Okay, thanks to both of you. Who else has got a question that has been burning? Over here, down at the front. We'll come to you next, okay?
Thank you very much. Well, can I say first and foremost that I think we would all agree that the world around us has changed quite dramatically, almost on a daily basis. And the fortunate thing is that Jersey has retained its character and Trinity has retained its magic. We've been talking about housing, which is highly essential for young people. And I'm wondering how we balance the want of housing with farming and with the natural environment. They all do go together, but obviously they need to be sorted out on a separate basis. Thank you.
Okay, Steve first this time.
Thank you very much for the question. And rightly so, what you say, it is a difficult subject to deal because obviously there's pressure regarding housing and also maintaining the countryside. I still think that things could be done sympathetically, where we could accommodate houses for our young people. It is a problem. We're trying to get onto the housing market and that sort of thing. Agriculture, that's got to be maintained as well. Maybe in terms of agriculture, we might need to start looking at different areas, be a little bit more diversified. Many years ago, agriculture within the island was one of the prime areas, that sort of thing. And the countryside as well. I mean, we are fortunate that we live on we will always say Trinity is the best parish. We're fortunate enough that we've got lovely coastal walks and all that sort of thing, and they are really well maintained. And that's one of the things as well that in my manifesto, that I want to try and encourage that sort of thing. I did say to you about allotments or growing areas or something like that. That'll knock on then to people getting involved and being in the countryside as well. So it is a balancing game. I take on board what you're saying, but we've got to try and help our young people if we can with housing and all that sort of thing, and also agriculture and looking after the wildlife as well. Thank you.
Okay, Andy.
So I think we're very lucky to have Le Grand Clos, which was sort of for young people not very long ago. I'm happy that we perhaps do one or two small fill-ins, but I don't want any more large housing areas in Trinity. I want to keep Trinity rural. I think we have an opportunity. I think we just bought some land by Maison Cabot, and perhaps we could have two more homes for elderly retirees, so they could then give up their family homes, and so young families could move into those, and the other people could go into the new homes at Maison Cabot. But I want to keep Trinity green. I want to keep it as it is. I don't think we should be doing lots more development. I think there is a lot of development in St. Peter and also in St. Saviour's, and I don't think all those homes are being sold at the moment. So I think we have to be mindful about what we're doing and whether we actually do need lots more things in Trinity. I think we have to keep some places rural. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think we had somebody wanting to ask a question at the back.
If we want to the parish system to flourish, we must cherish it. I wonder what the candidates will do to make the parish hall, the parish assembly, and the parish arrangements more interesting and acceptable to people who are strangers, to move into the parish and are strangers, possibly from other parishes, possibly from outside. How many come to meetings like this, because what we need to do is to make everybody feel part of the parish. So what would you, each of you, do to bring in the people who feel, well, I haven't lived in the parish for the last 500 years, so I can't really go there? How are you going to involve them in parish affairs?
Andy.
So thank you so much. That's a very good question. In fact, it's something I was raised yesterday with me. And they said, you have to put if there's a parish meeting, you have to put a little message up in the box by the parish church. You do it 2 weeks before. And although we have got things on the website for Trinity, I think perhaps people are not aware of what's going on. And I think perhaps when someone arrives into Trinity, I think they have to let the parish secretaries know that they're here. And then perhaps we should have a proper, I think perhaps it'd be quite nice to go and visit them and say welcome and ask them what they'd like to do, what they're interested in. Because there's lots going on in the parish hall. There are lots of classes and they could come for those. But we could say, we could invite them and just be more welcoming, I think, because otherwise they might not know. But I think as a future constable, it would be a role that one could do. I know the parish secretaries are amazingly kind and welcoming, but I think we need to do a bit more to do that. Somebody said perhaps when there's a parish assembly, we could send, if everybody was agreement, either an email or a text message to say it's going to happen, and then they might be able to turn up. But I think it's important that more people do get involved, because sometimes the parish assemblies are quite badly attended, and that's something we have to try to revive and make them more important. I think we are going to do, does everyone know, we're going to make the present constable has arranged that we're going to increase the size of the parish hall so that more people can actually get here. But I think we do need to make it a more welcoming evening, and perhaps we could provide refreshments at an assembly and just make it better for people. But I'm very keen to hear your views, because it's not just from the person, we've all got to work together to try to engender the real spirit of Trinity. Thank you.
Thank you. Steve.
Yes, thank you very much for the question. It is a major concern to me that parish assemblies are called and that people don't attend. And very often at those parish hall assemblies, major decisions are decided on. And that was the case just a few weeks ago, where we had a parish assembly to vote money to actually extend the current parish hall and also provide disabled access and all that sort of thing. And there was only 10 people that turned up. Now, there was quite an amount of money which was needed for that. And for 10 people to make that decision, I think it requires more people to be here. With regards to, it's a subject which I'm interested in, young people, for example. We need to engage young people. My intentions are to try and make contact with those people and engage them. New people coming in, we're lucky enough that we've got a fantastic office staff. And there's one member in this audience this evening. She actually goes up and beyond to make people feel welcome. And also in that same role, she tries to enroll them into the honorary police. So it's a big plus. And I think that's something that we can build on as well. The honorary police system that we've got in Trinity, we couldn't wish for better. I'm going to say we've got a team which is absolutely fantastic, and they provide backup to a lot of people in the island, but also cross island as well. Okay, so I agree with Andy. There's something needs to be done. Our websites, I mean, say notifying people when there's meetings and all that sort of thing. There's clearly something that's not working as what it should be, and I would like to see when a parish assembly is called the same numbers as what we got here this evening. If we get that, that would be absolutely fantastic. Thank you.
Thanks to both of you. Who else has got a question? And so we'll go middle person, then the person on the right, and then the person on the left.
Thank you. I want to change tack slightly, if I may. More interested in your position when you actually take your seat in the Assembly. We're faced with a situation now where obviously senatorial elections are now part of this process. So as you're both independents, were you more minded to believe, well, two points really. Do you believe that it should be senators who take the top ministerial jobs? And as you are both independents, would you support a coalition of independents to ensure that we're not faced with a reform Jersey government?
So that's you this time first, Steve.
Personally, I think senators should take the ministerial roles. I feel as though that would be their position. The coalition, if you like, was coalition that you... Right, okay. It's I don't know, it's difficult to answer. I mean, we would certainly need to work together as the independents, I think, so that we can try and get things resolved. But yeah, I'm not really, I'd need to look into that answer or that question and maybe come back to you at a later date, because I'm not sure about what the answer I should be giving you. Thank you.
Andy.
So thank you for the question. I'm very pleased that Deputy Elaine Miller has brought back senators. We had really good meetings around all the parish halls, and the vote was very, very close. But I'm really pleased that we now all have a chance to vote across the island. And I'm very pleased that some good people are standing. And I think we'll have a really good lot of senatorial candidates who I'm sure will become some of the ministers. But I don't think that other people should be denied standing for the government, because they have a lot to say as well. And I think we have to all, the people who work as the government need to be able to work properly together. So it will depend on the individual, but I hope that groups of independents will join together to form the next government of Jersey. And I'm really excited that we're going forward. Thank you.
Thank you to both of you. There was somebody over there who I said I was going to come to next, who had their hand up earlier. There we go.
I don't intend to be rude to anybody, but there's an awful lot of grey hair in the audience tonight. And surely the start time of 7 o'clock for the hustings is going to cut out virtually everybody who is bathing and bedtime. So is there any suggestion that they might change the 7 o'clock start such that perhaps more of the young people that everybody says must be attending these sessions could actually attend?
Andy.
So thank you for the question. I'm not sure, but it is being live streamed so that anybody who isn't able to come at this time will be able to view what is being said. And if anybody's here this evening, they can also go back and look at it and see the questions that have been asked and how we've answered. So we're not, although there may not be too many younger people in this audience, it is actually young. There's somebody I met at the Grand Clos who decided who her mother should be. She was aged about 8. She had decided who her mother should be voting for, because she had already read some of the material that had come out. So I think it's really good that everybody does have a chance to watch this on YouTube. So even if you're not actually here in the room and perhaps you can't ask a question, you still can be part of this. Thank you. So I think we haven't, the other thing is we didn't decide the time. I think it's now the Jersey Electoral Authority who have decided how the hustings should work. And so it wasn't down to us. Thank you.
Okay, Steve.
Yeah, I'll endorse that. I mean, to say, unfortunately, with the elections now, the parish hasn't, or parishes haven't got the say what they used to have years ago. I'm sure some of the people currently sitting in the hall can recall that when elections were called, there was actually a meeting and proposals were all done here and seconders and all that sort of thing. Now it's a little bit informal, if you like. You just go down to Maria House, you hand your form in, and it's just done quite clinical, that sort of thing. Yes, again, Andy's right. What she was saying there, everything is being streamed now, so that's available. So there are ways which people can actually get involved, if you like, with the meeting. But I still think it's nice for people to actually turn up and to be in the hall and ask those questions. Thank you.
Okay, thanks both of you. There was somebody over that side who had their hand up. Looks like somebody without grey hair.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm one of the people without grey hair here tonight. Trinity is the home of Jersey Motorcycle and Light Car Club, and home to multiple venues of motorsport, being the Hill Climb at Bully Bay, the headquarters of the pits at the RJ and HS, and the Egypt motocross track. Unfortunately, recently, the Bully Bay Hill Climb has had pushback from the parish in regards to honorary police attending to support the event. Does the Motorcycle and Light Car Club have the support of either candidate? Or if not, do they have differing opinions on motorsport in the Parish of Trinity? Thank you.
Steve, you first.
Right, thanks very much for the question. I'm a strong believer in the motorsport. The hill climbs, the rallies, and all the other events that take place. I'm not over the moon about the way that things have changed with the actual supporting the hill climb, in the sense of putting out signage and that sort of thing. And that's something that, if elected, I would most probably change that, and to bring in that community spirit again. At the end of the day, yes, we are honorary police officers, but I think community service to these people that enjoy doing the sports should be supported. The rally, we're lucky enough that the parishioners all support the rally. Well, we might get a few that maybe not. Maybe that might be a misjudgment by my part, but certainly we're fortunate enough that the rally, it doesn't come into our parish every single year, and you know, it's one afternoon or one evening where the roads are actually closed. Motorsports obviously bring in a lot of people from the UK and all that sort of thing, and we need to look at these sort of areas where we can encourage people to attend these events, and then hopefully then generate income to the island. But I fully support what the Motorcycle and Light Car Club do with their events, and I will fully support that if I'm lucky enough to be elected. Thank you.
Thank you. Andy.
So I too appreciate that there are lots of people who get a lot of pleasure from racing their cars and tinkering with engines and zooming up Bully Bay Hill. And I think that will carry on. I think it's in law that the hill climbs will carry on. Even though there's going to be a new development down at the water's edge, the agreement is that all of the Bully Bay hill climbs will carry on. And I know we've got the Light Car Club halfway down, I think, which is also where we do the float. And so that'll carry on too. And I would support that, because I do think it's important that we give and take in a parish. And although perhaps the rally, when it comes past your door every other year, is perhaps something you'd rather not happen, I know, because it gives so much pleasure to something, that we have to say, well, that's okay. And we just have to make sure that our pets are kept safely indoors. So I think live and let live, and let's all enjoy what we enjoy as part of Trinity. And just going back to the signage, I thought there was an agreement with the honorary police that the people organising the Bully Bay hill climb would do the parking. But I'm happy to revisit that, because I know that's something that the honoraries did do, and then it was agreed that they didn't have to do it. But I would need to understand quite what's gone on. Thank you.
Okay, thanks to both of you. We've got somebody down here also without grey hair. Well done, both of you.
It's great to see a contested election in Trinity. And I share the opinion of the gentleman at the back. You know, it's a shame not more young people are here this evening, but I'm sure hopefully they're watching virtually and will watch this once it's been uploaded. My question is, and I think it's wonderful that both candidates have said that they'll have an open door policy. However, the role obviously as a constable is very busy. It's difficult. You've also got your role in the States Assembly. How will you balance those two roles? And will either of you be taking on any ministerial committee roles should you be elected? Thank you.
Andy.
I think as any member of the States, you have to do more than one thing. You can't just be, I mean, although it would be amazing just to be the constable, I think it's important that constables do go into the States Assembly and represent the views of the parishioners of Trinity. I personally, if I could, I would really like to carry on as an assistant health minister, because we're getting somewhere now. And I really would like to do that. Otherwise, you'd have to be on a scrutiny panel. You would not just be able to be the constable. We all have to share the workload. And I think I do understand there's a lot to do, but I think I've had good practice over the last 40 odd years, because our phone has been next to our bed, and we've had lots of patients who have phoned any time, even in the middle of the night, to ask for our assistance. So I'm quite used to being around for people. And I understand we have to have some time off, but I think I will be there for the parishioners. Thank you.
Steve.
Right. Okay. Thanks very much for the question. I think the answer is in the title, basically. Constable of Trinity. And I think personally my role will be focusing on the parish predominantly. Yes, I will have my seat in the House as one of the 49, and I will be voting on crucial elements or topics or whatever comes up in debate. But the role of the constable is to look after his parishioners. And I feel as though that's where my majority of my time that I would like to be spent. With regards to taking on a ministerial position or a major part of government, I won't be seeking that because I am not a seasoned politician. I'll be going into the House as a newbie, if you like. And I want to do my apprenticeship, if you like. And I'd rather try and get a feel of what the House is, how it operates, before I actually take on a ministerial a ministerial position. However, it's not saying that I won't want to take up a role possibly on scrutiny, okay? Because scrutiny looks at a number of bits and pieces, and one of my bugbears basically is the way that money is hemorrhaging out of this island. We need to control that. And hopefully being on scrutiny, then we can start asking people and making them accountable for the monies that is being spent. Because it currently stands at the present moment, it feels as though that our local government is just got out of control with money, that sort of thing. So that would be one of my key things, that I would want to work on scrutiny, and then I can ask people the questions and ask people to be accountable for what's being spent. Thank you.
Thanks to both of you. Anybody else with some questions? Somebody here. Just second row back.
Thank you. Sorry, I've got another question about roads. So 20 from before the shop all the way down past the school. That's quite a long road for a 20, and I try and avoid it at all costs. What would you two ideally have as kind of the speed limit, and how would you try and change it? Because you both say about permanent. Would you bring in kind of like the lights for slow down when schools are out, or would you be happy keeping it as a permanent 20?
Okay, I think that's Steve first there.
Thank you. I would like to see the scheme come back as it was, with the flashing lights operating when school is operating. So obviously school terms and all that sort of thing. Like you rightly say, the distance of the 20 mile an hour is, well, it's quite lengthy, that sort of thing. So I would be looking, again, it comes back right to the beginning of the meeting about saying for safety for the children, all that sort of thing. So I would say that we keep the 20 mile an hour zone in front of the school up to the entrance of the RJNHS. From the RJNHS up to the church and going up Rue Salier, which is the road that comes up alongside Acorn, I would see that going to a 30 mile an hour zone. Okay. And likewise, I feel as though that just past where the AA box is, then possibly put that back to a 30 through there as well. Okay. There's been... sorry. That's well.
Just in case you didn't hear the question was how many signs would you need, because you need this for the streaming.
Right, yeah, I think it currently, as it stands at the moment, the system we've got down the school is ugly. In the sense of it comes back to a question was mentioned about the countryside and preserving. I think it's looking untidy. It's looking messy. So I think the amount of signs that we would need to put up then would be less than what we've currently got. And I feel as though that in some instances we are fining people for speeding, and they're getting records, which I feel as though the system is an overkill really. But certainly concentrate around the school area, making sure that that is safe down there, and keeping that as a 20 mile an hour zone. Thank you.
Thank you. Andy?
Yes, so I think the same as well. I think I did like the flashing lights, because then when school was up, then you knew that you had to be careful. But apparently, according to the people from infrastructure and the head teacher, the school children do go to breakfast club and they do go to school clubs after school, and they have parents' evenings. So that's why the head teacher is very much of the opinion that the 20 mile an hour flashing was not safe. So it's something we do have to be mindful of. And I think it's something we have to discuss, whether we have a permanent 20 just for the school. But I do think it should not go all the way up. I think it should at least stop at the entrance to the RJA and HS, and then that bit to be 30, because I think very good people, it's so easy. You turn the corner and it's so easy to go a bit too fast. And then you suddenly realize, oh gosh, I'm going 20, I must slow down. It's just such an easy thing to do. And I think that I did mention when I did go to this meeting that a lot of people had been fined, and I didn't think it was fair, because it just seems there's nothing there, nothing at the top of the road. And I do think it's something that is a real issue, and we do need to sort it out. Is that all right? Thank you.
Okay, there's a hand there, and there's another one there, and then there's another way to go. So we'll go 1, 2, 3.
As a very grey-haired person, I just want to say something about the young. Have you thought of actually going into the schools and explaining what it is to be a constable and what is the Jersey voting system? It is incredibly complex, but I remember 4 years ago trying to explain it to my grandson. He got incredibly engaged. The other thing that the young people are engaged about, apart from sport, obviously, is the environment. Now, that is where you could really be imaginative. Have you got any proposals for how you could engage not your teens or early 20s, but your under 10s, because that's where the engagement starts. It's very dry to go into a hustings or into an assembly, and what young person is going to do that? But get them even onto the roads committee, take them out, show them what you do, and that's where you can get what young people. Sorry, I'm talking too much. The question is, how have you engaged young people in the parish?
Yes, it's Andy.
So thank you so much for the question. It's a very good question. I think in St. John, we've been, and at the beginning of the school year, there's a school council. They have an election, and we have been as their deputies, and we've overseen, they've had for each of their classes, they've had to choose the person they want to represent them. And then they've come and they've put their voting slips into a box, and that's gone down very well. And I think they have engaged, but I think it's something that I haven't done, but something that will be a good thing to engage with the school to do that. And I'm sure we could perhaps take them round and show what the roads inspectors do, and they could go and see the broncage. So, but I think it's just, we need closer liaison with the head teacher. But I must say, we're very lucky because on a Thursday evening and a Friday evening, there's a great youth club out here. And we should, I haven't done it yet, but it's something I mean to do while I'm canvassing to get them more engaged. Thank you.
Okay, Steve.
Right, okay. Well, what I would do is that I would make sure that I go down into the school, and I would speak to the children down there. We have spoken about as well, and on the odd occasion, the honorary police, for example, have gone into the youth centre and explained to the youngsters what we actually do, that sort of thing. I agree with Andy that maybe having one or two people from the primary schools seeing what our actual roads committees do, what it involves. What's a broncage? A lot of young children most probably don't realise, yes, they see the hedges being cut, but they might not know the term broncage and what is involved if you don't actually pay, get your broncage done. So my key thing would be to get into the schools, connect with the young people, okay, get them involved, get people maybe from the environmental department to actually go into them and speak to them. We're fortunate enough that we've got some lovely lanes within Trinity. We're lucky enough that one's just been awarded down at Le Pin for the best lane in the island. As far as the youth club is concerned, although I'm not very athletic, I will go into the youth club and I would speak to the youngsters there. I will kick a ball around, I'll have a game of snooker or a game of pool and all that sort of thing. And I think that's important. Get those people involved in the parish life, because at the end of the day, they're going to be the future of Trinity. And we need to encourage those people to take the roles on which Andy and myself are actually looking to take on ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you. Excuse me, I'm just getting over a cold. Next.
Thank you. The costs of running the parish are rising inexorably. How do the candidates see those costs rising, and how do the candidates plan on managing our costs?
Unfortunately, costs, we haven't got a lot of control over that. I mean, I say we're very much governed by, what things are happening in the world and all that sort of thing. And obviously, running the offices, for example, the administration costs, sending out letters and all that sort of stuff is just an onward going cost, which we've got to pick up, that sort of thing. So how can we curb the costs? It's very difficult. It is very difficult to actually curb those costs. If you want the parish to be carrying on looking as what it's looking, then we've got to pay the money out to actually, maintain that system or that level of satisfaction, that sort of thing. But the running costs are what they are. And we are fortunate enough. I mean, to say, if we didn't have the voluntary staff people that go around, and like I said earlier on, that they are working in the background. And there is a number of people which are involved there where they're looking after the elderly people. They're going out and doing shopping. There's Meals on Wheels. That sort of thing is as well. So we are fortunate there. If that wasn't there, then obviously our costs would increase greatly. Thank you.
Andy.
So I do think it's something that we need to keep an eye on. I want to keep our rates as low as possible for the parish, but while having effective services. But I do think we've got some very good procureurs du bain public. I think I can see one, or certainly one here this evening. And I know they keep an eye, both of you, I know they keep an eye. Oh, thank you, sorry, both of you are here. I know they're very good at keeping an eye on what the constable might want to spend, but I would want to keep costs down as much as possible. I know we have the staff who are invaluable, and we have their wages and their pensions and their ITIS and all those things. And we have the people who very kindly come to collect our rubbish and our recycling. Perhaps we could start thinking about not having so much, putting so much recycling out, thinking about how we could reuse what we've got so we don't put out so much. That might bring the costs down. But I think it's important. I think we've got IT and then we have licenses. We could think perhaps about not posting, using the postal system quite so much, and we could send things for those people who are able to. We could send messages electronically rather than having to put stamps on letters. That might be a way to save some money for the parish. But I think it is something we do have to keep an eye on. And as a constable, I would need the help of the procureurs to make sure that I was doing all the right things. Thank you.
Thank you. Who's next? There was somebody over here. But no, the blue jumper.
Thank you. Just to take up your theme of saving money, reducing costs, you've both suggested that you would like to see new children's play area, which I support. How would you go about prioritizing the fact that you want to save money, that you want a new play area, and how can you tell me that you will set some timescales and a desire to get the play area up and running?
Andy.
Yes. I think I would engage, first of all, with the parishioners to make sure that's something that they are happy to do. And if so, I would also then, there's a really lovely girl called Emily Jennings who's done play areas elsewhere, and perhaps we should ask her what we could do. I think we could just do very simple things to start with, like we could put another net up to play a proper game of netball. We could possibly do, that would cost very little, I think. We could have a goal for the football, another goal. But I would love to, if we can, have some better equipment for children, but we'd have to look to make sure that it was going to last a long time and the best value and the best for this parish in what we were going to do. Thank you.
Steve.
You've got to weigh up, really. I mean, say about life for young families and the children as well. So personally, I feel as though that putting money aside for a playground or anything like that for this younger generation, this was highlighted to me when I was up at the candidates fair, that they felt as though that there wasn't nothing available for young children, that sort of thing. So I would justify, spending the money for that to be done. We're not necessarily talking about a large play area or anything like that. It's just somewhere where the children can go. And currently the sort of play area that we've got just on the entrance of the youth club, it's not in the best condition. There's not any safety matting or anything like that. So we need to think of that as well. I'm fortunate from my past that I have still got contacts regarding play equipment in the UK. So that's something that we could speak to them possibly about. Play equipment doesn't necessarily have to be expensive to purchase or anything like that. Sometimes you just need things just to engage for the young people to have fun, that sort of thing. So I would, endorse and say that I'm happy enough that I would put a sum of money aside for that facility to be made available. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, there's somebody there.
Hello, hi. One of the scrutiny panels did a report about the relationship between the parishes and the government of Jersey, and came up with a number of key recommendations. I was wondering if either of you could say which ones you believe are the key ones to start in that important scrutiny panel to see how that relationship between the parishes and the government, but also between parishes as well, and what you thought of that report and what are the kind of key recommendations you would take forward.
Steve, it's to you first.
Okay. Right. Okay. Obviously, we're part of a district. So we've got ourselves, St. John's and St. Lawrence. So I think that would be key, that we actually work together. I think we've gone for too many years where we've sat in our silos and we've just concentrated of what was happening in our own parish. I think that's got to change. We've got to work as a team to get the best that we can from all the other parishes as well. So that would be my sort of onset. I'm not really au fait with what you're actually asking the question. So that would be my answer to that particular question. Thank you.
Okay, Andy.
So I apologise that I can't give all the details of the report, but I think the parish works pretty well at the moment. I don't think we want to change too much. I don't think we want too much government interference. I think it's important that we set our own rate and that the parish takes responsibility. And I do think we have to be mindful about giving powers away to central government. I think is very important that we have a personal relationship with all our parishioners. And I do think we have to, I think it's important that we do make the parish assemblies more lively and have more people attending. That is an important thing. But I think we do have to be mindful of that. I think Trinity should stay as Trinity, and we shouldn't listen too much to some of the, although we should have a good relationship, we should be the ones making the decisions here. Thank you.
Thank you. There was somebody at the back there, I think. Was it? Maybe it was you. Let's go here first.
Thank you, John. Well, first of all, thank you for putting yourselves through this. This is a bit of a challenge. My question actually leads on slightly from Hillary's in a way. So as a lifelong Jerseyman, the parish system is close to my heart. And I think one of the great strengths of it used to be how it was able to look after everyone in its own community. Now, touching on that point, I think the loss of some of that functions to the central government has damaged our society, actually, to some extent. So building on that, my question to you too is this: what does the parish do really well in looking after people within its community? Where are the gaps? And what do you think great could look like, and improvements that you would bring in your role as the mother and father of the parish?
Okay,
so I think the parish system is what makes Jersey special. I think it's unique. I think we perhaps lost some of it when we went from having individual deputies and constables in each parish, and now it's a larger. I've appreciated being a deputy for St. Lawrence and St. John and Trinity, but I have found it a challenge because I haven't got to know people in Trinity as well as I should. But I think the real strength is the fact that we do know our parishioners and that we've got some wonderful people who live here, and I want that to continue. I want to go around and see them and be there for them. I think that's one of our strengths. I'm sorry, I can't remember what else you wanted to, but I just think...
I just wanted to know, have you identified any gaps?
Yeah,
so he's asking which gaps there might be that you would like to fill.
Yes, so
if
I
you were
think the
comfortable.
gap that we do have is possibly when someone comes and they're new. And I think we do need to make an effort to welcome them and say, you know, we've got a great parish in Trinity and come, because that is something, I think that's possibly where the gap is. I think it's fine when you've been here forever, but I think we need to be perhaps more welcoming to newcomers. Thank you.
Sorry, if I just clarify. My question is really more around the community support you give to vulnerable parishes.
So are you talking kind of financial support?
No.
Across the board.
So
So,
I do
support for parishioners from the parish.
Yeah, so I do think we have got a really amazing community support group, of which I was a member before I went into politics. And I think we formed during COVID, and we then had, we were divided into, there was somebody who was gold, and you sent the message out, and then we had all of the different Vantanes had various people looking after them. I think now it's morphed into something that for the whole of the Trinity. And so if anybody needs to go for a doctor's appointment, or they need to get some pharmacy drugs, then or to take them to the hospital, then they can phone up, and the support people organise to take them to that appointment. And we're very lucky. We just probably need a few more volunteers for the driving. But so if anybody fancies doing that, please get in touch. I think it's with Margaret Owen, and I'm sure they'd be pleased to have you to help. Thank you.
Okay, Steve.
Exactly what Andy was saying. And it comes back to what I said earlier as well. We are fortunate to have so many volunteers which actually do these jobs behind the scenes. Rightly so, they go out and do the shopping. They take people to hospital appointments, doctor's appointments, that sort of thing. So we are lucky in Trinity that we've got that network which is actually happening. As far as the constable's concerned, I think it's important that he knows his residents. The elderly people, if they need the help and all that sort of thing. Very often you get the situation where an elderly person doesn't necessarily always want to come forward and say that they need help and all that sort of thing. So I think the role of the constable is actually to go out and visit people. And if there are some of the residents which are in care homes or anything like that, still make them feel a part of parish life. We're fortunate that we know a person which is in a care home, and she is very much still a Trinity girl, and she wants to know what's going on. So I think the constable, yes, care for the elderly residents, but also the newborn as well. And if need be, if those young families might want a little bit of assistance or something like that, I think we should be there as a parish and support them as well. Thank you.
And I think the other part of his question was, are you aware of a gap that you would like to fill if you became Connétable?
I don't think so. I mean, I say that the fear might be that obviously the volunteers that we've got do a lot of work and all that sort of thing. So what I would like to see maybe is get some of the younger people to start working in tandem with the people that are doing this work, and sort of build up that sort of a younger sort of relationship, you know, with people, younger people coming in. I know it's difficult where they've got family lives and jobs and all that sort of thing as well, but we are dependent on the, don't take this the wrong way, the older generation, if you like, which go out and do these jobs, which, like I say, is happening in the background, and we don't always realize that that's actually happening. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else with some questions out there? Is there anybody, before I go back to the same person, is there anybody who hasn't asked a question yet, who would like to? And I'm happy to go back to people if there aren't people kind of anxious. Okay, off you go.
We've spoken a lot about what each candidate's going to bring to the parish after the election. Can each candidate mention something significant that they have brought to the parish over the last few years?
Okay, Steve first.
I think what I've brought to the parish is being a member of the Honorary Police. I've given 17 years service, which I've thoroughly enjoyed over those years that I've done. I'm fortunate enough that I came in as a constable's officer. In a very short space of time, I came up to the Ventenier, and currently, albeit not operational because of the elections, I am one of the 4 centenniers. So I feel as though that's what I've brought to the parish. I would like to think that my laughter and my smile has brought something to the parish as well, within the police community and also in the parish itself. So yeah, I feel as though that community service of being in the Honorary Police is my major contribution that I've given to the parish. Thank you.
Okay, Andy.
So I've been part of the community support group in the parish. I've been a Meals on Wheels volunteer, so I used to go around and take some of the meals to Trinity parishioners and elsewhere on the island. I've been church almoner for I don't know how many years, and before that I used to help with the children's Sunday school classes back in the day. So I think, and I've also supported John while he's been in the Honorary Police, and those are the things I've contributed. We're also very lucky because where we live, we're members of, we've got a little area, a common, which is called by Jardin d'Olivet. And so we're trying also to change that so it's going to be more accessible for people, and we're trying to get it to improve the area, and that's something for the environment that I'm doing. So all of those things. Thank you.
Okay, thanks to both of you. Anybody else thought of anything while they've been listening? Okay, somebody down here on the front.
Hi there. I'd just like to ask you, you've both talked about improving play equipment for the young people. What about the youth? If you have a look in the youth centre that's over there, a lot of the equipment is damaged. What do you think about the investment in young people in the parish and supporting them through from primary into secondary, and even beyond that, to encourage them to come back to the parish, perhaps once they've left the island and got degrees, for example?
Andy?
Yes, well, I do think that it's not just the small play area, but I do think they need, I'm a bit, it's unfortunate that there's, I think, some skateboard things that are set in the corner. Have you seen, I don't know if you've seen that, but around there, and they're sort of fenced off, and I think it's rather a shame that that area is as it is, and I think we may have to do something with the building to make the slates safe, but I think we need to look to be able to use the area outside the youth centre much better for our youth. In fact, when I was here last week on Thursday, there were about 50 young people playing outside. Some of them were drawing with chalk, others were kicking a football, others were just running around having a really great time. And I thought that is fantastic, and how these are our young people, and I want to do all I can so that we can encourage them to be here. And then inside, I haven't looked inside for a while, but I guess it's, I need to go and look. I haven't seen the equipment. I think there is a separate committee who look after the youth club, and I think they're a very active committee, and I'm sure it would be, it's probably their responsibility to look after the equipment, but I would be happy to chat to them and see. Thank you.
Okay, Steve.
Obviously, if we've got equipment which is in a bad state, I think we've got to put monies to that to make sure that that's kept up to a reasonable standard. Rightly so, what Andy was saying there. I met a member from the community, from the youth centre, raised concerns about the skate park. We had that equipment given to us, and it's just sitting in the corner of the playground, not doing anything. Where that would be located, that's something that would need to be discussed. But I think it might be an asset to the young people so that they can come off and let off a little bit of steam. One thing that came to light, and I don't think it's going to be feasible, but they were asking, a mountain bike area or something like that, or a track. Again, it's going to be difficult to actually achieve that. But we certainly need to look at seeing, investing in the young people. A lot of the comments coming through from the candidates fair was there's not a lot to do in Trinity. So we've got to try and address that and engage with those people, because like you say, people will move away from the island if there's not facilities here for them to, if there's not enough to do and all that sort of thing. So if money needs to be invested, yes, we've actually invested initially by putting this equipment in, but I think we need to top up and make sure that things are maintained and kept up to a reasonable standard. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Anything that's occurred to you while you've been listening this evening, popped into your head, you want to ask? Anybody want to ask a second question? Follow up from their first one, perhaps? Is that you putting your hand up, Mike? Oh, okay. That's two there now. There's the chap in the blue top, and then Elaine.
Thank you. We've heard lots of ideas, and you've very similar in your ideas. I've not heard many times that you've disagreed with each other. If you are successful, after 4 years, what one thing that is not here now will you bring to the parish that is different from where we are now?
Steve, your turn first.
One thing I would like to think would happen is that we've made provisions over the 4 years. It's not going to all happen in one way, but hopefully then we can get the young people back into our parish. Okay. My son, like I said earlier on, has just qualified as a doctor. He feels as though that he's not going to come back to Jersey because there's not enough job opportunities for him and that sort of thing. So we need to look at these sort of areas. How do we engage? How do we get people back into the parish and all that sort of thing? So I would see that hopefully is that we get the younger generation coming back to the island. We get more people involved in parish assemblies and in parish life. And hopefully then we can start building the community up as what we've currently got, but improve as well. So a little bit of a difficult question, but that's what I would see would be the passion, get the young people back. At the end of the day, it comes back to what I said earlier on. They're the future Trinity.
Andy.
So I think I'd like to have seen a vibrancy and excitement we've made a much better area for our children, but that Trinity is carried on as it always does. And that's what I'd like to see. And I just hope that we can do that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Well, first of all, we'll go to Elaine here and then to Hilary after that, because you can put your hand up first.
Absolutely. You will have the support of 3 deputies after the election. How will you make sure that you get the best out of them, that they are supporting Trinity as well as the other 2 parishes?
Thank you, Elaine. I found it quite hard. During this last 4 years, because the parish has run very well with the Constable, and I've attended all the meetings that I can have done, but I haven't really felt really wanted in a way. And I hope that I will engage with the new deputies who will be elected and make them seem much more part of our community, because I think although we have turned up to everything, but it's been a sort of on an outside level. We haven't any decision we haven't really been involved with the decision making, and I think that's something that has been lacking. I think because it's the first time that a parish has had 4 deputies, I think it's something that, and instead of us just taking one parish each, we've all gone to everything. I think we have just sort of been on the outside, and I think it'd be important to use, because we need more heads are better than one, and I think we should be using the deputies more and working collaboratively with them. Thank you.
Steve.
I agree with what Andy was saying there. We've got to come away from the silos of the individual parishes. We've got one district now, and I think the 3 deputies should get together. We've most probably all got common sort of things which are happening, and I think we need to actually work more as a group, so that then one parish might be able to solve a solution for another parish or whatever, like, you know, but it's important. And the way that I would envisage that happening is that if I was lucky enough to be elected, would call a meeting and meet all of the deputies and see, like, brainstorming, if you like, and see if there's any areas which we can overlap or we can work together to provide a better community for the 3 parishes. Thank you.
Okay, thanks both of you. Hilary next.
Thank you. There's been quite a few questions about how to make sure that younger people stay in the parish and the youth, who many are next door at the moment. But we also in Trinity have a lot of businesses based in Trinity, and I was just wondering if you have already, as you're going, learning more about the parish and what is the needs of the parish, have you talked to businesses who are located in Trinity, and what are the things that you're hearing, and what could you offer as Connétable to support businesses that are in the parish that obviously, of course, then generate jobs, which then, of course, supports in the long term the youth of the parish. So I was just wondering if what you've heard and what are the solutions, and what are the gaps, and what are the things that you could help as a Connétable.
Steve.
Yeah, I have spoken to some of the businesses which we've got running in the parish, and what they find sometimes is that they are restricted in the sense of how they can develop or get their services out to the public by restrictions sometimes by the states. So that would be something that I would say we would need to try and break down and improve. There's laws about bringing in livestock sometimes and all that sort of thing, and the particular person that I was speaking to he said it was just a nightmare to try and get things sorted. We are fortunate that we've got a number of businesses within the parish which are providing jobs. I'm not 100% sure if they're local people or within the parish and that sort of thing, but I'm sure they are. But yeah, it's certainly something that I would encourage, and I would meet those people and see if we can cut the red tape, if you like, to make things simpler for them to actually operate their business.
Andy.
Yes, so we're very lucky. We've got Durrell and we've got Acorn. Whilst during this term, I have helped a bit because Acorn have got solar panels on their roof, and they were having a slight difficulty with the electricity company. But now I think they've come to a better agreement about how they use their solar. But I'm aware that we need to support all our businesses in Trinity. We've got people who repair tyres. We've got people working quietly at home doing their IT. And I just would like to know for them to know that I would be available if they are having any difficulty, to see what could be done to help. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Has anybody else thought of anything they'd like to ask the candidates? Can't see any hands coming up. I mean, we can finish early if there's nobody else who wants to ask anything. Anybody who's asked something before can now ask something again. Oh, okay. Somebody down here. Hang on, wait for the mic, because otherwise the people online won't hear what you're saying.
The Trinity roads are very dark. Do you see any possibility to improve that, say at corners or so that the pedestrians can walk of an evening as well? I mean, at this time of the year, it's not bad, but in winter or autumn, it's at 4 o'clock, forget it.
So, lighting on the roads, Andy first.
So when I went to the meeting with the school, there was talk that they would put lighting by the whatever crossing is decided for the school children to cross. But actually, otherwise, I just think we should take a torch. I think this is Trinity. This is a rural parish. I don't think we'll be getting street lighting. I'm really sorry, but I think they do have very good head torches, but I don't think we'll be putting Trinity. I think we should enjoy the night sky and think how lucky we are to see the stars. Thank you.
Steve, a torch or lights?
I totally agree. I'm going to say for us to put street lighting up Trinity Main Road or in the actual parish itself, it's not going to really happen. I'm going to say the cost to actually do that is going to be astronomical. Certainly, hopefully outside the church now, a few years ago, lighting was put there so that when people were coming out of the church in the evenings, at least it was safe for people to actually walk down that pavement there. I agree with Andy, really. Let's walk around with the torches or a candle or something like that, let's engage with the night sky sort of thing and enjoy what we've got, rather than, start having light pollution or something like that. So maybe in key areas, certainly by a crossing area or something like that, have some sort, maybe a spotlight or some sort of light there. But to have a parish lighting system would not be my high priority. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else got any queries, questions, comments, clarification? Okay, well, if there are no more questions, are you two happy to end it there?
Can I just say thank you very, very much, everyone, for coming and for listening to us, giving us questions to think about, and we really appreciate that.
Okay.
And for me, I'm just going to say, please vote for me on June 7th.
We'll have to hand that over to Steve now. Steve, what do you want people to do?
Right, okay, like I say, we haven't had an election in Trinity for 30 years. And the people that have run the parish for those years have done an excellent job. Having an election is healthy. It gives the electorate then a choice. You've heard our answers this evening. You've heard our manifestos. Basically, I'm placing you in your hands now. I would like you to come out on the 7th of June. Come and cast your vote. And for me too, please vote for me. Thank you.
I've got a few. And if you do think of any more questions you'd like to ask them, if you want to get in touch with either of your candidates, you can find their contact details on the vote.je website, and you can bother them there, or through there, getting their contact details. And also the manifesto, the booklets are starting to be delivered to homes from the 11th of May. So you'll be able to read a bit more about what they want to do. If you applied for a postal vote, remember your ballot papers need to be received by the judicial grefg by 12 noon on Sunday, the 7th of June. And you can vote early, if you'd like to, at the pre-poll station in St Paul's Centre in St Helier, and that's open from the 26th of May until the 1st of June. So if that suits you better, you can do that. Election day is, do you know what the date is? 7th of June. Polling stations open from 8 till 8, and make sure you take your photo ID with you. So thanks very much for coming, and good night.